If it had been left to you, you'd have been like, razzle dazzle them.
No, it's not just that.
And then it was
I like
your dad's
making-
like, you're gonna box, lad. Hello, welcome to Two Pints with Will and Ralph, episode 10, Swift Half. We're going to do some listener questions.
Brilliant.
Right? Okay. Because, we keep saying, give us your questions and whatever, and it's only right that we
And we
actually...
use our Swift half for the people
to
that follow
honour
the
that,
pod and they get a mention.
So Colette has got in touch, and she has put, I haven't seen these, she's put, when you were both at high school, did yours... I wonder if Colette's American or if she's just saying high school. We don't really say high school, do we?
No.
Do your kids, who are obviously of a different generation, do they refer to it as high school? Because we used to say primary and
I
secondary
don't really know. They've left school now, so I honestly don't know. I've never said high school.
Sharky, can you get Jaden in here, please? We have a question for him. Tell him to come over, but we'll carry on. When you were both at high school, did your school have a rival or enemy school? And what did you think of
Yeah,
them?
we used to have fights with them.
All I think of is like Greece with Rydell High and...
What?
Greece. They had an opposition school.
No, there wasn't. It was just him.
You
Crater Face.
Crater Face, yeah, but he went to some other
Oh,
school.
was it? I thought it was just him who had the flames on his car, Crater Face.
Yeah.
I was a rival. Yes,
Imagine
the
me,
rival.
how gutted you'd be if your nickname was Crater Face.
I know, and you've got the part.
Yeah, I know.
You know your skin's not great.
Imagine your agent going, "I've got a part for you. It's perfect. It's called Ugly Prick."
No, your nickname is Crater Face.
Jaden, can I just put you in here, please, mate?
We've got a question for your son.
Come over here so you can be on the microphone. Come here. This is Jaden Meller. Will
my
Mellison.
son.
This is Jaden, who's Will's so much better looking son.
I agree.
Jaden, the question is, when you were both at high school, and then I said, we didn't used to say high school, we used to say primary and secondary. Is that an American thing, or is it like a generational thing? Would you say high school, or would you still refer to it as secondary school?
I'd say secondary school.
You'd say secondary school?
Is there a generation now that calls it high school, though, son?
Because we didn't have prom. We didn't have a high school prom. But you did.
I didn't even go to prom.
Really? You did go for school,
COVID?
aren't you?
No, it's COVID.
Oh, gutted.
He missed his prom.
Gutted.
No, I called it secondary school.
Okay.
But I think it is American for high school.
Okay.
What do you call it?
Just
No, we secondary school. I'm just wondering, this question, is it from an American person or is it just...
yeah. So we didn't know whether the
Generational.
generation now are calling it high school because it's an Americanism. What? There's some things you say that are American things.
What?
I can't remember.
Brilliant.
And Renee as well says the same.
That's what he did. Do you want to do this podcast instead?
No, there's something I can't remember.
Could I get the
I
better
can't remember.
Meller in
I can't remember what it was. There's something you said, and I said that's funny that because we don't say that. And I think it's because you watch a lot of YouTube and American stuff.
Do you low-key say things are fire? Skibbity, get the fuck out.
Thanks, son.
Right. Thanks, Jaden.
The answer to your question is we did have a rival school, and also let's carry on about this.
Yeah.
The guy who got the part Crater Face.
Yes, great. Can
I
you imagine
imagine-
your agent? Oh, I've got a part that's perfect for you. He's called Ugly.
In brackets, Crater Face. So, hey, she said to you when you had that spot problem, don't you worry, I'll find a part for you.
Yeah, there's definitely, you've got a very lived-in look. That's what they say. It's character, your character.
I went to Bredbury
Sorry,
Comprehensive.
there's more to this question, just to
okay.
fill it out, because I don't want to sell Colette short. And what did you think of them? Mine was across the road, told by all fifth years, we hate them, no idea why, but battle lines were drawn. My school was Harrytown. Have you ever heard of them, Will? So clearly, this is not an American thing. This is a Stockport thing.
Yes, this was Harrytown was our enemies.
No way.
I was just about to say I went
So
to Bredbury
Colette went to Harrytown.
Yeah, they had to let him out at different times because we'd end up fighting for no reason. How weird is that? And it was
So tribal.
It was so
So
weird.
unnecessary.
So Harrytown was more of a Catholic school. There was more nuns and stuff like that and all that. But they had different.
So they were getting beaten up in lessons and at break time.
Well, yeah, we had. Do you know what it's like at school? The olden days, you had a cock of your year, you had a cock of the school. They take on a cock of their school. Or it was all that nonsense. But it was called Bredbury Comprehensive, and they were called Harrytown. Harrytown. Then we changed. Our school got changed to Werneth. I think it was after I left. It tried to make it sound posh.
They were like, he's gone, quick, rebrand.
It was a shithole. But yes, the rivalry was there, and they had to let us out at different times in case we didn't clash. Isn't that weird? Harrytown versus Bredbury.
Did you ever get into many fights?
Couple, yeah, at school. I think you have a few.
Because you were upset about something, or because you were pressured into it?
Yeah, there's a few things. When I was at junior school, I used to fight a lot more because I was boxing, and they actually asked me, mum and dad, to take me out of boxing because My dad brought me up to say, if anyone has a go at you and picks on you, the first thing you do is punch him in the face.
I remember you told me,
And he taught me, and he said that, and I was more scared of him than anybody else.
I did find this quite a moving story, actually, without getting too serious.
Yeah.
But you once told me, I can't remember if it was in this podcast or on Will and Ralph Should Know Better, but like, there was a time when somebody had punched you and you'd gone home upset.
Yeah, my dad makes me go and fight him again.
Marched you back to the school and
do it
said,
in front of us.
Fight
Well,
in front of us.
there
But to be fair, you said that, like, because that sounds awful to me. It sounds really sad and harrowing.
My dad was scared that I was going to be a coward and I wasn't going to be able to look after myself. And we lived in a bit of an area.
And your dad was raised in an incredibly tough way.
Very
and
rough area.
Toughness was a thing.
Very rough area. And my dad, looking after yourself was paramount, not only just for me, my sisters as well. He made sure they could fight and look after themselves. And listen, I wasn't naturally like that. I wanted to entertain, but to be honest...
you were all jazz hands. You were
no.
If it had been left to you, you'd have been like, razzle dazzle them.
No, it's not just that.
And then it was your dad's like, you're going to box, lad.
No, I enjoyed boxing, and I did that from a young age, like 7 years old. But then when it went to junior school and stuff like that, yeah, I hit quite a few people, and then it just got to a point where my mum and dad were brought in to say, because I was going to look after myself. But my dad said, if you come home and you tell me someone's hit you and you haven't hit them back, I'll hit you harder than they will. And it was literally like that. So I thought, I can't go home and say. So it was an instant reaction until I got hit off a bloke once. I got hit off a lad. It'd been put back 2 or 3 years. His name was Austin.
So he was massive.
He was 6 foot. He was obviously a bit slow. But my lord, I had a bit of a row with one of his friends, and he was just rocking on this bench. This Austin didn't even say much, and he punched me right in the face, and my eye completely shut. I had a black eye, right, and I ran. The dinner lady, he was throwing dinner ladies out the way trying to get to me. This big guy. I was only about 10. You know what I mean? I was a bit of a scrapper.
Had you tried to scrap him?
No, I was having an argument with someone else, and he must have liked this other person and just punched me. So anyway, cut long story short, I get home and I've got this shiner. My dad goes, "Get back to school." Texts me back into the school because he's like, "I want to see this," because I said, "Dad, he's bigger than you," and he's like, "Don't lie to me. Who's hit you? And he better look worse than you." It was like that, and I was like, "Dad, I couldn't do anything. He's 6 foot. His name's Austin." Anyway, because he was a bit slow,
He's got power.
He was a bit put back in years because he was older than us, but because of his mental age, put back. So my dad went back in, didn't believe me, and when he saw him, he went, "He should be in this school." It was just like, look what he's done to my son. He's bigger than you. So the teacher couldn't do nothing.
Like Wayne Rooney when he was 15. It's I can't play football against him.
Like Shrek.
Yeah.
But so that was the one time when I got a rude awakening. But after that, when I went to senior school, you can't do that because everyone's a lot bigger than you. You know, when you go when you're 12, you might have been a big dog at your junior school. You go into there and you got people who are like proper. And they I had a couple of scripts and scrapes, but once people know you're not scared and you can have a little bit of a go, they leave you alone.
I remember, I think we talked about this on Will and Ralph Should Know Better, but I don't need to go deeply into it, but I remember, I hope you don't mind me saying, but first couple of years of doing 2 pints, you were by no means like a liability. You weren't somebody who's like, was starting fights. But I do remember you had a thing of just after a pint, like if we'd go out on a night out on a Friday after we'd been filming, after a couple of pints, you'd just take yourself home. Which, by the way, I respect because
there was
people, you were just. It felt to me like you were just not looking for trouble, as in you were going to go out and cause trouble, but it was almost like you were on edge, like sensing danger. Like there's going to be there might be a fight here. I might have to do this. I might have to do this. And it's funny because that wasn't my reality. There was never a fight.
No, but I used to sense there'd be trouble if I stay because there'd be people. Listen, when you're on TV, people say things and you have to learn to ignore it. And that took me a long time to get used to.
Yeah.
People calling you all sorts of names, or you're that tit, or you're that wanker off the telly. And now, where I come from, you can't be calling people that unless you want to get punched in the mouth. Yeah. But when you're on the TV, you've got to learn to turn a blind eye. And when I've had a few drinks, I'll just think, say it again.
Yeah.
Because I might not turn a blind eye this time. And what's the worst that can happen? I get involved, I end up fighting, and then I lose my career, my job. And to be fair, and it's not, you never feel good after fighting, no matter what happens.
I say that for the first couple of years, and I do mean it for the first couple of years. I just remember sort of having this vague feeling that, like, one, you would take yourself off home, which shows a certain maturity.
I just didn't like where it was going to go. I knew where I would go with it.
And two, even in that couple of years, you did sort of mellow out a little bit.
100%. I had to
and
get
just
rid
be
of it.
like, what's the point? And it's interesting because you don't really have any of that in you anymore.
I don't. The last thing I want to do is have trouble.
You just seem happier for it.
The one thing
there
I
was
know
obviously
is-
something you were carrying with you.
The one thing I know is if I got pushed into a corner and I had to defend myself, I will. But I don't. I just want to get on with everyone. I don't want any trouble, and I hate that feeling that you have. I'll tell you the God's honest truth, because I'm happy to be honest. There was a turning point, and I hurt somebody, and it was two of them, and I'd had a few drinks, and he'd had a few drinks, and he was having a go at me. It was at a hotel in London, and he offered me outside, and he was like, "Get out here, I'll smash you," fucking in it, him and his mate. And it was that one time when I thought, I'm not walking away here. And I actually turned to the staff and I went, "What's this?" And I remembered it. And I went outside, and he went and put his arms out as if people always think you're going to have a row, and I don't row. It's like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Once we've got to this point, you've offered me outside.
I'll tell you one thing, he's not going to hit me first. That's what my dad always said. Listen, if you think someone's going to hit you, don't let him hit you, because that could be the end of it. And that point, this was a long time ago, really long time ago. I think I was still doing 2 pints when you'd left.
Right.
Oh no, it was in with the Flins I was doing. Anyway, 10 years ago. Anyway, I
way more.
Anyway, I hit this guy, and then I hit him a few times. Anyway, the problem was,
let's be fair. This is somebody who's offered you out. You think
there's two of them.
Two of them. You think he's going to try? They're going to beat you
I
up.
could have walked away, but there's a lesson in this, because I'd had a drink, and and there was a point I could have made a choice, and I could have just ignored him and gone to bed. But from that point, that lesson, the police turned up, an ambulance turned up, police turned up, and then I'm sat there waiting, and he says to me, he must have reckoned I was on the TV, and I was sat in the hotel reception, and he said, "What are you doing here? What are you fighting for?" And I got emotional. And I was like, "You don't understand, because my anger's up, but emotion, crying and anger's." And I was like, "He's having a go, man. He's offered me outside, and I've got out of these two of them." And I said, "What do you want me to do?" And then I said, "I didn't want to do it, but I couldn't stop myself. Once I get out there, what am I supposed to do?" And in the end, he said, "I suggest you take yourself to bed." Right? The bloke didn't press any charges. And I was emotional.
Well, there had been two of them, and he didn't.
But the problem I've got is, when I woke up the next day, I could have catched myself. I told my mum, my dad, my wife, because I needed a bollocking. I needed bollocking.
Did you feel really emotional?
I was like, I could have lost everything last night. Rather than just turning me back, saving a bit of face, I could have just gone, "I'm not interested, mate," and gone to bed. But I didn't. And that could have been a massive turning point in my life. I could have hurt him and put him in hospital. Stupid.
It's interesting.
Stupid.
It's not about going, there's a right or a wrong way, or I did like things better, but like,
there was a choice.
I've only ever been in a fight once, and I wasn't even in a fight. I've told you the story about how my nose got broken, and I was just minding my own business. I'm minding my own business, and suddenly it's like, oh, I guess this has happened.
Really sad.
And that's the only time I've ever been in a fight. And I have my entire life, especially in those days when we were out 2 pints, I used to go clubbing all the time. Sometimes with you, just out and about. Been in clubs. And when I was in a club, particularly once you start getting recognised, but even before then, you start getting recognised, you just keep your wits about you. You're not always like scared, but you keep your wits about, and you go, "Oh, that looks like it could kick off over there," and whatever. But I've never ever had a problem with somebody walking up to me and be, "You're that dickhead off TV, aren't you?" And I'm like, yeah, and or like, I'm the guy in the club.
I just find it.
I'm the guy in the club that if somebody bumps into me and spills my pint all over me, I've always been the guy that's like, "Oh, sorry, mate," because I can dry my t-shirt.
You're right. No, you're right.
It's not about saying I'm right. It's just
I'm not. There's nothing I'm saying I'm bragging about any of this.
Not at all,
I'm embarrassed for some of it.
It's just different upbringings, and it's different things that are like instilled in you. And I've always found it quite moving when you've said to me before that for all of this that you're talking about, for all of that, and it's nice to be able to learn how to look after yourself and whatever, but for all of that, you've got to be tough. You've got to be this. We did it in our masculinity episode of Will and Ralph Should Know Better. You just want it to be like a performer, a showman. And I joked on like jazz hands, but really that was it.
I just wanted to make people laugh.
You've got this duality of like, I really just want to make
there's
people
this
laugh
other side that my
sing
dad
and
put in
dance.
me, you see.
And you've had this instilled in you, and that's that's difficult. But I mean this when I say it's credit to you that I remember that period.
I had to
and
change,
you used
though.
to take yourself out of the equation, and I saw it shifting. and you were completely different. Like
I didn't want to bring my
person
kids
now.
up
Yeah.
like that and also letting them see that or that
Yeah,
person. And
yeah.
it's not just that. I didn't tell you this as well, that I got beaten up outside a club when I was 15, 16. My mate got his ears all ripped.
That's got to have an effect, yeah.
Yeah, and that made me think I took my eye off the ball there. They followed me outside. I was with some girls from the school.
So you felt responsible.
Well, I had to. I was like, I wasn't aware, and my dad was like, "I told you, you always have to look after." And I was in this. I was too young to really be in there. 16,
yeah.
and
We all did
they
that.
used to let us in. And me and my mate Anthony, he'd had his ears pinned back, and
they
they
sort of
beat
ripped
me
it.
up. They beat me up, kicking me on the floor and all that. Ripped all his ears for nothing, because we were dancing with the girls.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, from that point, I thought that's not going to happen to me again.
I get that. Though.
And I also didn't tell my dad because I was too scared of what he
That
would
you'd
say
be
and
angry
do.
with you, yeah.
And when he found out, he was not only angry with me, he wanted to go back with my cousin and my uncle to go and sort it all out. And I thought, that's just going to keep carrying it on.
Of course, that's going to.
I'm a kid.
Of course, that's going to have an effect, though. You're like,
But mentally, I
I
thought,
took my eye off the ball. I'm never going to let that happen again.
and yeah, but it's all a learning curve. And as you get older, you have to realise what's important. And I just want peace and happiness. And
Yeah.
I like to be liked. But and this is but I don't want people to think they can take the piss out of me. You know what I mean? Because I'm a bit of a joke and I have a bit of fun, sometimes people can go too far and then think they can come up and insult you in front of your family.
It does happen.
And it does.
It happens to
but
us
I
both.
also have a way of going, listen, that's
Mate,
not right, mate.
can you just-
I'm not going to take that shit.
Or you're just like,
You know what I mean?
yeah, listen, we'll wrap it up there. But, you talk about wanting to set an example for your kids and everything. And, we had Jaden came in even in this Swift half. And as you can see, he's kind of a bit of a prick. Okay,
he's
so
a
we'll say
beautiful
he's a
He's my
lovely
boy.
lad. Listen, thanks, mate. I wasn't expecting that to get so serious. But
No, I wasn't,
We'll
but
see.
we know what happens
that's
in
we
this
do.
pod.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Right, we'll see you for the next one, guys. And thank you for listening. And
Thanks for listening.
I love this guy. I'm a bit pissed.
Appreciate it. Take care. See you later. Ta-ra.